You know what that means. It's time for Title Talk with your host, Drew Wishover, entrepreneur, published author, and owner of Inspired Title Group, along with his co-host and director of operations, Amy Maley. Each week, the team will offer industry terminology, tips, and strategies, along with the occasional real estate professional to help educate as it pertains to buying, selling, or just plain old home ownership. We thank you for spending time with us today. Now, let's join this episode of Title Talk. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. My name is Drew.
And my name is Amy.
This is Title Talk 2.0. We are the show that is bringing you some value with
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. We got guests that come in here that are in the industry. Last week we had a
Barb and
a couple
CJ.
realtors on. It
Yes.
was great. I hope you guys got some good insight from them. And then prior to that, we had another realtor on. We had an attorney on. So today, Amy and I are kind of just gonna take a minute and settle here for a little bit to kind of chat and answer maybe some questions that are going on in the industry. Are people able to hear us out there? And maybe talk a little bit about culture and mindset. And then we've got some questions that people have asked us as it pertains to title insurance and what it is a little bit more, and maybe, why it matters, how it applies. And, the market has kind of been a real hit and miss
interest
thing.
rates are up again.
Yeah, interest rates are up, and people
0.25 today.
Kind of, really wondering, what does this mean? And how does title insurance get impacted? How are we affected by these things? But why don't we first kind of talk a little bit about, mindset in what we do and kind of how, we here at Inspired Title take an approach to that. So, like, when somebody says mindset, you're like, what do you think of? What kind of comes to your mind around just mindset?
How your mind works.
Yeah, like, just
like the different places that you can be in a day.
Yeah.
And I always think that mindset, it's so crazy about how strong your mind is. I've had this conversation probably more so in 2023 than I've had in the last 30 years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind is so powerful, and being in a strong, having a strong mind and a good mindset is so vital to living in a healthy, happy, good life.
That's for sure. And mindset really does impact the way you
function,
face business and
face day-to-day.
And face adversity and face challenges and things. And we've had some mental health professionals on the show, and we've been in environments where they do speaking engagements and things. And one of the things that we hear from them is the importance of it in the business place and how to kind of navigate through that. You don't think that your mindset is you're negative, right? You're things happen bad in the course of a day, and all of a sudden you go into this negative role, right?
And it happens fast. And the other thing that I think is crazy is that I don't think mindset was really a topic that was talked about a lot until very recently. I feel like it's an ever-evolving, ever-changing kind of thing where people feel okay talking about not being okay, or finding relationships with like-minded people who are okay to be vulnerable and open to have these conversations. I feel, rewind 25 years ago, it was maybe just business. Nope, you're good. No, gotta work on business. And now the reality is people are struggling after COVID.
Totally.
I think that it's having a very negative effect on people long term. That we didn't really think was a thing that I think we'll continue to discover. And I'm not trying to
no, not at all.
Look into this, but I just think that it messed with people. The getting used to being home alone.
Totally.
Being used to not really socializing. And then, the world's opening up now, and concerts are back, and dinners are back, and business meetings are back, and we're supposed to pretend those 2.5 years of never happened.
Yeah.
It's how do you be normal again? What is normal?
That point right there is the COVID piece. We're starting to get back out there into the workplace to show that, we're doing more meetings, we're doing more interactions and engagements where we're trying to be social.
Yeah.
And it's awkward. People are still awkwardly going,
wait, we're going to get together, we're going to gather in a room.
Like
we're
not
gonna
just
talk.
Zoom or not
Yeah.
just Teams or not just phone call. Like we're gonna I'm gonna shake your hand.
And we legitimately talked about that in several of our different, kind of relationship events where it's the industry has kind of moved 5 times faster
Yeah.
because of what COVID hit.
Yes.
I'm not saying that we wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now, but probably not as quickly.
Correct.
Because of what happened
Correct.
with COVID. So really, going into your workspace and going into work with a positive mindset really does impact and change how you conduct and do business.
And it's so hard because like it's so easy to let what's going on at home overflow into what's happening in your office and what's
Yeah.
happening in business and what's happening everywhere. And it's okay to not be okay, but it's also important to remain professional and
Yeah.
remember that you still have a job to do.
Right.
You still have
Right.
to work on those important relationships, and you still need to not be douchey to
Yeah.
people you're working with
Totally.
and working for, even though it's hard sometimes.
I was fortunate enough to be able to do a podcast on a
I broke
on
my
our
tongue
other
so bad
network,
this morning with tea.
and I was interviewing a successful band guy who is
cool.
doing a lot of different events across the country. Final Say, his name is Robbie Celestin, just tremendous personality. And I was interviewing on my Inspired for Success podcast, and he had said something about mindset because we take it for granted that we come to work and we go to work, and we're in an office space, right? His work is on stage, so I asked him truly, how do you not feel good? How do you deal with I got to go perform knowing that there's some
Something's
home things
yeah.
going on that they're struggling. Like, you really have to be in a mindset to be able to overcome that, to get out there and perform.
And he had a very cool take on it.
Yes, I really,
It was like use it.
yes,
Is kind of what he was talking about. Like,
Yep. He balls it up his energy and
Yeah.
uses it as his motivation and his strength to kind of moving into that space and doing it.
Yeah.
And you teach dance, and you see these
Oh!
kids in all the way up to high school. They're scared. They're nervous. Maybe they've had a
They're
a
going
bad
to
day or
college.
whatever. They're going to college. I mean, they have to change their mindset to.
And it's amazing that like the energy of a couple of those big kids, how it just like flips a switch.
Right.
Like we have 5 seniors that are graduating. We have 28 kids on company.
Mhm.
So like if the 5 of them open, they're like merp.
Right.
Like you see the entire company that's just kind of like merp. And you
Yeah.
see the 5 of them like bouncing down the hallways. Like
Crazy.
it's just like everybody wants to bounce with
Yeah,
them.
it is.
Like,
So really, mindset is a very integral part of business and life. That getting yourself in a good mindset, getting yourself in a space where comfortability and knowing that hey, it's okay to not be okay, as Abe said, like in laying it down for a minute and then doing what you got to do, and then you can always pick it back up if you want. You don't have to.
And I think one of the things I'm learning about mindset is that the okayness of failure.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people take failure as like done.
Yes.
Like I screwed up, it's over, I should stop. But trying to use this growth mindset as to failure being an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Which is hard because like I still remember the first F I ever got in 5th grade.
Right.
Because I drew a line graph instead of a bar graph. And that will sit with me for the rest of forever. But like, rewind to 5th grade, I got an F, I thought I would never recover. I would never pass my 5th grade class.
Right.
But now here I am, like, I've screwed up.
Yeah.
I'm a human.
Yeah.
We're all
Yeah.
humans.
Mhm.
But like, how do you overcome that to improve what you do next?
Right.
And I think that's one of the hard things. Everybody, that first failure, that
Yeah.
first something, it's a big hit, but how do you recover from that?
And failure is part of success. It's part of the path. We talk about it all the time. How those are life lessons. Those are the teachings that you get through that process. So if you allow yourself the ability to fail and know that it's okay, the quicker you're able to kind of come back from that and really bounce back from that. And that kind of segues into kind of what we're doing here with our team is the culture, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't ever hear conversation around culture. Here's an interesting thought. So if you're interviewing, okay, you're the person who is applying for the job. I can tell you and I wanted to see if kind of putting you on the spot here, kind of see how you feel if you're being interviewed for the position. What are you looking for to determine if that, like warning signs of maybe a bad culture? What would be a warning sign of a bad culture for you?
I go to, I'm intuitive.
Yeah.
So I always talk about this. So I look for good over, sorry. I look for good over bad. Like good resonates stronger with me.
Of course.
So I feel like bad things that I see are people who move jobs a lot for the reason, and then they'll give reasons that, like, it's because my job did this. It's because this happened. It's because somebody else did that to me. Somebody who's constantly playing victim,
Totally.
I think is a very scary thing because, if you can't admit that you were part of the problem,
Right.
then
Right.
if I hired you, how would that work in this situation?
Right.
That's one thing that scares me.
So as a person who has been a leader for a lot of years and thankfully hasn't had to apply for a job, when I'm interviewing somebody or I'm sitting in a space where I'm looking at maybe bringing somebody into the team, I want them to know that the team that they're being brought into is a good culture. Things that I think candidates would be looking for is what the one you said is big is, how is this person kind of bouncing around a lot?
If they're a Cubs fan or a Sox fan.
That one is that's the silent killer, right? That's the one that I kind of keep from everybody. But is it a yelling and screaming environment? Is there a lot of turnover, to your point? Things that people, you see where there's no growth internally. There's no interest in the individual's growth. They're hiring they're hiring outside to promote. They're not promoting from within the company. Like, these are team cultures that you can look at and maybe understand before you go into that job to say, wow, so I'm going to work here and I'm going to work hard for a period of time, but you're going to go out and hire somebody to be my lead, not knowing anything about it after I've spent all these years doing this.
Right.
So team culture is something that I think is an important part of the business place. I mean, we are 100%, that's in our every year, end of the year plan for the next year, is to increase and grow our team culture. It's not easy. It is, you're taking the number of personalities that you have in an organization and you're trying to get them all to mesh and work well and buy into the vision of what we're trying to do.
Right.
So,
and I think that the other thing about our company is we're not just a normal title company that is looking for normal people who just want to sit behind a desk and punch on their computer. As
Yes.
weird as that sounds. Like, we are looking for people who are community driven. We are looking for people who want to, come to a soup kitchen with us after hours or go to a walk on weekends. And we get it. That's not a normal 9 to 5 part of your job. But it's something that we really hope that everybody that we employ understands
Totally.
that it's important to us. It's important to and are we working until 9 o'clock every Saturday night
Right.
because we have events? No, but on the one off, to have an entire team there that's excited to be involved in something, which
Right.
is it's hard, but it's cool.
yeah, and that when we're hiring somebody, it's when you've developed a team culture and created chemistry, the hiring part now becomes a lot more difficult because one person can be toxic to the culture. So, you get kind of complacent. Where you're going, wow, this is a nice group. I like what we've created here, and I don't want to add anything else to the mix. We're
But
growing,
we need to.
we're expanding, and now you need to, and now you look at, what does this look like? So something that I have kind of, taken on as a, if you will, a hashtag that, we hire for personality and we train for culture, train for future. So bringing somebody in that has a personality like ours, where they're outgoing, they're energetic, they're fun, they're easy to get along with. You can take us and bring us down You know, that's not where we excel, but we can quiet down, but you can't take the person who is generally by habit quiet and turn them all the way up. So really when we're looking for team, we're looking for somebody who is pretty much, you know, outgoing and has a strong personality, and then
And
we
that's
can teach
moldable
them.
and trainable.
Yes, and we can teach them that stuff. So it's really great to you know, seek that out. But it's a task. It's a hard process, and you know, thankfully we've been blessed and lucky with the team that we have, because
We have a strong core group.
like I said it time and time again, I would take this team and put it up against many other, and just how hard they push for the result sometimes it's definitely not said enough about how appreciative you know, that I am for what they do as well. You know, when you think of culture, though, you know, and you're new in new. When I say in the business, you're not new in the business. You're new in just, you know, you're younger. To say, if somebody was to sit here and talk to you about team culture,
Younger, not young anymore.
no,
I'm
no.
officially not young
No,
anymore.
exactly.
I'm younger.
But I mean, if somebody was to say, "Hey, Amy, you know, you're going to be really creating a team culture for a company," would you know what that would have meant?
No,
Exactly.
no.
So I mean,
Yeah, I
now
don't think I've ever, like, up until not very recently, the last handful of years,
Mhm.
did I actually put two and two together of what a team culture was.
right.
And you know, I look back at my previous jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was actually really lucky where every group that I've ever worked with, I've kind of meshed with.
Mhm.
And I think I'm a go with the flower.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
I like to make the best out of every situation that I'm in and stuff. But
That's
like,
true.
you know, go back to when I worked at the pizza place for 10, 11, 12 years. Like, it was the best. I was working until 11 o'clock with my best friends on the
Right.
weekend, like, while I was actually going to school and stuff. Like,
Right.
it was fun.
Yeah.
Turn up the music. We have to clean. Great. Power together and do it together.
Right.
Like, it's strength in numbers, you know?
Yeah.
Strength in unity.
But like you said, people don't talk culture. People don't talk about team. People don't talk, they talk about at my job. This is what happened at my job. We talk about, you know, what happened in, you know, with the team. We frame it differently. The picture that we paint is, you know, we're all in this together. We're all doing what we're doing together, and we win as a team, we lose as a team.
Yeah.
And you know, we support each other in that same fashion to really relate to, you know, when there is a problem, we all jump into it and go. But you know, the funny part of that, though, is that it's not just as simple as, you know, now, like, put culture and, like, you know, the whole mindset thing together, right? Teaching, you don't teach culture,
No,
right?
I would agree.
You create it.
you create it. You create culture.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mindset, though, you can teach,
Uh-huh.
right? So I think as a leader of the company, that has been a goal and role, is to say, all right, I'm going to teach mindset and create a culture from it. And up until, you know, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, I didn't ever think that was something that was going to be a necessity, because
There's
just a couple of us doing
I was
it.
going to say there was 2 or 3 of us working here.
Yeah, it was just, you know, small little company, just kind of doing what we had to do to get by, and it was fine. It was great. And now, thankfully, we've grown to you know, the numbers are larger, the people there are more. So now we look at the next level to say, hey, we're going to have to probably bring some more people in here. We've got some really great things on the horizon, and different opportunities that I'm just kind of looking at Amy and saying, this is really going to be an interesting dynamic. Now we're going to put more people into the organization. I want to be very, very intentional with what that looks
Yes.
like. And so that's, I mean, the purpose of today's convo is about mindset and culture.
It's
as
kind of
it-
poop out of me about
Yeah.
hiring people.
as it pertains to you know, business. But I don't want to kind of steal the entire theme and steal the entire show with just mindset and culture. I mean, you know, we've been getting a lot of questions over the period of, you know, time about title insurance, and, you know, what it is and why, and you know, we laugh at it all the time, saying it's just that it's the part of the deal that people know the least amount, care the least amount about it, and has probably the most value.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
you care the least about it. You know the least about it.
You
but
talk the least about
you
it.
talk the least
you
about
hear
it,
the least about it.
and it has the most impact
on
as
your
to
future
if
and
something happens.
protecting you. Yeah.
Yeah, and Amy can certainly speak very, very highly and well to this because of being, the examiner and running the title department. We were just meeting with some folks over the last couple days to say deals aren't like they were,
It's
right?
the
I
new
mean,
normal is not normal. The joke that if there's ever a title that's just clean, there's got to be something
Something's wrong.
hidden somewhere at some point.
Yeah,
If it sounds too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true.
Right.
It's like the reality. Just making sure I scrutinize every transfer of every deed is a huge one. Making sure that, every conveyance that happened was done legally, was done correct, was done from the right parties. And I think that, when you see an invoice charge for a chain of title,
right,
I feel like lenders always need that.
right.
Lenders always want us to make sure we're doing our due diligence on a chain of title. Don't see them as much on cash transactions, which I also think is strange.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well, define a chain of title for the folks. So
chain of title, it's, so what I do is I go back through every conveyance, meaning every deed transfer, to make sure that who was signing their rights to the property to the next owner had the rights to sign their
Right.
rights to
Right.
the next owner. So that if anything comes back 25 years ago, so and so passed away without our job is to check to make sure this was all done correctly. And it's huge.
Yeah.
It's and I think one of the attorneys we were talking to was just like, yeah, there was a deed that was done that was completely wrong because they were. But
Yeah, it's
I don't want to go into the whole story of
No,
vesting and all that stuff, but
it legitimately raises the eyebrow when Amy looks at a deal and it is clean and there are no encumbrances or issues on title.
or a $600,000 house with no mortgages.
Right.
I'm like, where is it hiding?
She
It's somewhere.
legitimately is kind of concerned about it because realistically, that's not the norm right now. So a lot of questions are asked around this, and one of the big ones is commonly, why do we need it? Do we need it? Is it, what role, what value does it have? And
Because a lot of times when people are trying to cut back on fees, a title insurance policy is the
Right.
one thing that they're like, oh my gosh, it's $2,200 I can save.
right,
Yeah, at the expense of your house.
right. I mean,
Possibly.
legitimately, it's we can't stress enough the importance of the why. Okay, I'm certainly not going to sit here and bore you about all of the details and intricacies of what it.
Unless you had 6.5 hours.
Right. What the why, the where, all of that stuff is kind of it's nonsensical. But needing to know that your title insurance is free and clear and being covered by a reputable company, that's what you need to know. And that you pay it one time and you don't have to worry about it thereafter. So that, again, simplifying this to the core is when you own your house, the minute you take your keys and open up that front door, you get a title insurance policy that has nothing to do with the contents in that house. So if you have a fire or you're robbed, title insurance is not going to touch that. You're going to have zero claim against title insurance for that. However, if disgruntled Mary comes knocking at your door and saying, my husband and I got divorced and
He sold this property without me signing off on it, or he forged
Yep.
my signature, or anything like that.
I own half of your house, and would you get out of it? Get out of my house. This is half of it's mine. What happens? Well, that's an issue.
Yeah.
Because if that house is valued at $400,000, technically she's $200,000 value of is hers. She's got 50% value in ownership in that. So what then? You'd call up an attorney and you say, hey, these people are telling me that they own the house. How could that be? That's where the title insurance policy engages in
Yes.
the behind the scenes work to figuring out, what
What
happened,
did happen?
right? Is that a common practice, people knocking on other people's doors? No, it's not common practice. But it
But
happens.
but it has happened before.
Yeah, but it
and
happens.
Will happen again.
I think more common, more notable is, especially since what happened in 08, 07, 06, the kind of downturn in the market, there were a lot of short sales, there were a lot of foreclosures, there were a lot of tax sales. I think that now, 15, 18, 17 years later, we're in a space where the tax buyers are rightful owners of some of these properties because people, if you can't pay your mortgage, you're not paying your taxes. And when I say taxes, I'm not talking about IRS and income taxes, I'm talking about taxes
Property
for the
taxes.
property. So that tax bill doesn't get paid, and in 2 years, it goes to a tax deed. So Amy now is the buyer of that tax deed. She can go in and get a deed to your property and say, hey, you guys have to
Deuces.
move out.
Mhm.
And you will wait. No, I just bought it from the owner. Well, they don't own it anymore because they didn't pay their taxes. I bought it, and I went through the legal channels of that process to obtain a tax deed, which says that I am now the rightful owner. We
Tax deeds
notified
scare me.
everybody. Yeah, we notified
Scary
everybody.
thing.
We notified the bank. We notified the buyers or the sellers.
Any lien holders?
Everybody
Yep.
that was involved has been notified, and guess what? Nobody came to stand up to pay it, so guess what? They issued us a tax deed, which says that it's now mine, so you folks need to be out. So that happens. That's
Mhm.
real. And I mean,
Real scary.
so that $2,000 policy that Amy spoke about a moment ago is now got tremendous value because you just lost your $400,000 house by a knock on the door. So we cannot stress the importance of what it is, and that's just two simple little stories. There are a lot more, and we don't sit here to tell those to you to make you concerned and scared.
Yes, we do.
But
It's the only reason.
it's out there. It's truly out there.
If you're trying to save money somewhere, don't try to skip on your policy.
Right,
Like
right.
that's the end all be all, big part of this.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the questions that we get, and we kind of just, grabbed a couple of them from people, what were kind of the common questions. What are the costs that go with it?
$100 million
$100 million.
every year.
Every year, paid annually. I mean, talk about the fees and stuff, what they are.
So it depends, regulated states versus not regulated states.
Correct. Correct.
So in Illinois, for anything less than $150,000 to $200,000, you're looking at about a $200,000 a $2,000 policy.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes up in increments based on purchase price.
Right.
So the most you'll be spending is close to maybe $4,000 if it's like $1 million property.
Right.
But so think about that: $1 million, $4,000, like, and the seller pays for it. So go make the seller pay
Yeah,
for it.
and I take it one deeper. If your lender, the person who you're getting your mortgage from, is demanding that they get a loan policy, why do you think you shouldn't get an owner's policy? So
Always get a policy.
somebody in the industry that has been in the industry for a lot longer than you have is saying, we're going to go ahead and make a mortgage to you, and we're going to let you borrow this money for a period of time. However, we still want to be insured in case something happens to your property that would potentially get in the way of our being in that first lien position. What makes you think that you're going to be able to beat it more than them? They're paying for the protection. They want the protection. So should you. And simply, that's really the analogy that I try to give when people are on the fence and saying, I don't understand. This just seems like this is a waste. Your lender doesn't. And if your lender wasn't there, they wouldn't be able to borrow, let you borrow that money. So therefore, maybe kind of, pay attention to a little bit more of that. The attorney is there to help you. The attorney is going to answer your questions and guide you through the process. And they're also recommending that you do this too. So
Listen to them.
it really is a small dollar amount for the protection that you get.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the questions here that I think we answered, but is there a difference, or what is the difference ultimately between this and homeowners insurance?
They're different.
Oh, good. Okay. Thanks. There you go. She said it.
Yeah, so like you were talking about, homeowners insurance protects the home.
contents and all
Yeah,
of that fun.
what's in the house. The owner's policy protects your interest in the property.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that's like the easiest way to.
right. And the loan policy is protecting the lender's
Money. Mortgage.
loan to you, that there's nobody else in front of them. They have that first shot at, taking the property from you if you were to default for whatever reason.
Yes.
So they want to maintain that first spot. They want to make sure that there's nothing in the way that would disallow them from, having to foreclose on that mortgage if they had to. And it's just as simple as what that is. What kind of tips and advice maybe do could we give some folks as we kind of wrap this thing up here? What kind of tips would you kind of give some people around like the buying and selling a home, and some of the do's and don'ts that we've
Don't do it right now.
We've learned.
It's not a fun time, and I can say it because I'm doing it right now.
So stay home. Well, that's pretty bold. That's pretty bold.
No, I would say that, one of the biggest things that I've been doing as I'm looking at houses, I have more knowledge because of my profession of like what I'm getting into.
Sure.
So I would say if you're looking at buying a house, reach out to your nearest title company and ask them to do just a property report for you. And what that will do is kind of give you a heads up as to what you are getting into before you even fall in love with this house, right? So like a company will be able to tell you like if the taxes are a crap shop that you're gonna have to clean up, if it's in foreclosure, if it's a short sale that you're gonna be, elongating this process by months or years. They'll be able to tell you, what's happening because I hold things close to my heart, so I want to protect my love of my future house before it even becomes that much of a thing. Don't ever skip out on title insurance. It's the way to protect your biggest asset one of your biggest assets you will ever have in your life.
The American dream is home ownership, and I've said it time and time again. It's why would you not protect that? I think that being truthful and honest to your professionals, whether it is coming clean about you lost your job or maybe you defaulted on your mortgage or times are tough, because there's not judgment, there's assistance there, because maybe they can get you in front of the people that can help, the attorneys, the banks. If you're late on your mortgage payments, call the bank, have a conversation with them,
because in this process somebody will find out.
Yes.
It's not like it's going to remain hidden forever.
Yes.
What else? I was going to say something else before
Okay.
I interrupted you very rudely.
It's all right. I'll keep going.
Apologies.
We'll come back to it. No, it's no problem. The realities are that, though, engaging with all the professionals earlier on is better than waiting until it's too late, because we can help you on the front side of this. And if you don't know who to call, if you're not sure where you should start, give us a call. Because talk to us about, hey, here's what's going on. Here's been the problem. Here's what I'm experiencing. And if we can't answer it, we're going to get you into our circle of network that we, hey, give this attorney a call. They can, answer these questions and help you out with this process and get you kind of, working through where you need to be and what you need to do. So realistically, talking about it is huge, and it's kind of a necessity to, being successful at it.
I remember.
Got it. Go.
I'm not a realtor.
You're not. You are not.
But I will say, from being around a lot of realtors, make sure you click with the person that you're working with, because as much as I like somebody, it doesn't mean that everybody else will like somebody. So if it's not clicking, make sure that you're honest with yourself when it comes to that, because buying a house is hard enough.
Yep.
Make sure the people that you're surrounding yourself with are aligning with your vision. Also, in my professional opinion, not so professional opinion, if you are in the top budget of your house that you're about to put an offer in, never waive an inspection, and really try to not buy a house as is.
Yeah.
I think those are very too, like when multiple offers were coming in on houses and stuff, it was very appealing for sellers to see a contract that says as is.
Right.
Because then you're waiving the inspection and stuff, but be very careful that if you are the very top tier of what your budget is and you are waiving an inspection and you are saying you're going to buy a house as is, you don't know anything behind anywhere. So just make sure that, if you are going to be a little brave and try to buy as is or without an inspection. Make sure that you have some padding in your, go a little bit below your budget so that you have, craps, just in case.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very good tip, and Amy's opinion on that matters because it's something that she's kind of, going through herself right now is, searching for a new home and such.
Oh!
But
Sorry.
we see the realities of what that looks like behind the scenes and at the closing table, it's, it can get messy. So, give yourself that peace of mind and take that on. And,
If you're selling in Homer, Glen, or Lockport, I'm looking.
So why don't we kind of
Or Lamont.
let these people go and
Or Northwest
tell
Mokina.
them about
Or-
what we're doing. What's coming up on
We're doing
on
title.
our horizon?
Stuff.
You're something. You're kind of you're kind of fiery today here.
I'm feisty.
Yeah, you're a little feisty today.
It's because I don't have a stomach ache for the first time in 4
Ah,
years.
there you go. There you go.
So yeah, our golf outing's
Our
coming up.
golf outing is happening.
It is happening. We're getting all the details together with Glen Woody. We are going to be hosting at Glen Woody again. So we're just making sure we have all the proper information to get out to all of our friends.
3rd annual.
Yes, it's the actual 4th annual, but the 3rd one that we've been involved with, correct?
Yeah.
My Aunt Anne did it for her son by herself for the first year. Realized that this is a lot, and I wanted to be even more. So that's when I stepped in, and I was lucky enough that she gave the company the free reign pretty much to kind of run with it. And it's been first 2 that we were involved with were awesome,
Amazing.
and it keeps getting more and more fun. It's on a Saturday this year, which means we're gonna get crazy,
Yep.
and hopefully it doesn't rain.
Yep. July. What's the date? 22nd, 23rd.
22nd, right?
Yep.
Yes,
July
thank you.
22nd. Glen Woody. Definitely stay tuned and tune into our social media to kind of follow that journey as Amy will start to post and make some more announcements about registering and donations and volunteering and
Raffle baskets and
yes,
and
all
we
of
have
that.
our Crohn's and Colitis walk coming up too.
That's in June.
Yes, so we do have a inspired title team
We do.
for the Crohn's walk. So I will repost all that information on how you can get involved, whether that be signing up to walk with us, whether that be any kind of money donation.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a touching story about Carol and what she's gone through to kind of listen into. So yeah.
Yeah. So we, and I'm anxious and hopeful to see that, the month of May is pretty busy with, some traveling and things, but I think we're going to still do some kind of a give back or some kind of an event here in May that we are kind of working through some logistics on that as well. But here again, this is why we do what we do is for the give back piece, and that's so important and so huge to us. So hopefully you guys can really be part of that, and you don't have to be a part of it by actually showing up and supporting that. You can just share this stuff. You can just like this. You can give us that push down the social media path to helping get this word out, because I think there's power in the numbers, and we know there is. So share these talks, and if there's something you guys want us to chat about, if you guys have questions, if there's things that we can help answer for you, please get a hold of us. We're happy to help you out. We're here for you guys. So I feel pretty good about it. I'm looking forward to kind of getting on to the month of May as it is upon us so quickly.
Oh my
5
God.
months into the year. It's incredible.
I just
Yeah.
got willies.
Yeah. So why don't you guys go out and make a difference? Today's gonna be a great day.
Enjoy the sun.
Enjoy
It's supposed
the
to be
sun.
a fantastic weekend.
Absolutely.
Enjoy it all.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, my name's Drew.
And my name is Amy.
This is Title Talk. Guys, take care. We are your inspired title team.
Well, there you have it. That is it for this week's edition of Title Talk. Be sure to head over to our Inspired YouTube page and subscribe and like. And make sure you follow the team on Instagram and Facebook. Join us again next time for more tips and knowledge from the industry pros. Thanks again for listening.